The universe often brings into your life a person who feels like destiny, but is not meant to stay. This person enters with uncanny timing, like a page written long before you were born. Their presence shakes you, cracks the foundation of who you thought you were. And in the raw space they open up, something divine whispers, look deeper. They're not here to complete you. They're here to reflect you, to become the mirror of your inner wounds, your hidden desires, your long-forgotten fears. This person touches something sacred and terrifying within you. You find yourself unraveling in their presence, not because they're your missing piece, but because they show you all the pieces you've abandoned. You love them not just for who they are, but for who you become in their presence. Vulnerable, desperate, alive. Their rejection doesn't merely sting. It activates every scar from your childhood, every time you were unseen, unheard, unchosen. The universe sends them not to complete your story, but to expose the unfinished chapters within your soul. This kind of love is not here to last, it's here to awaken. Most people crave comfort, predictability, and ease. But the soul craves evolution, and evolution never comes gently. When the universe sends someone you cannot have, someone you're drawn to with inexplicable force yet constantly pushed away, it is not a punishment. It is a divine disruption. This soul shakes your identity, disorients your plans, even brings chaos. Why? Because the person you're meant to become can't grow in the soil of who you've always been. They are not your forever, but they are your fire. They ignite the collapse of the self you've outgrown. They tear through your illusions, your fantasies of control, your timelines, your neat definitions of love. The universe orchestrates this encounter to provoke the exact heartbreak you need. Not to destroy you, but to break open the shell surrounding your higher self. This isn't about them, it's about you. The pain, the longing, the separation. All of it is sacred. The universe isn't cruel, it's precise. And this person is the tool before you arrived here, in flesh, in form. You existed as energy, as consciousness, as spirit. And in that realm you made promises, soul contracts, agreements with others not bound by time, space, or logic. And some of those contracts were designed to teach you through pain, not permanence. This person you can't be with, you met them before, not here, but somewhere deep and eternal. You agreed to meet in this life at this moment to fulfill a purpose. Not a romantic one, but a transformational one. They were sent to you not to hold your hand, but to open your eyes, not to stay, but to leave, and in their leaving you were meant to awaken. You cry for the connection. You mourn what might have been, but the truth is, they're fulfilling the role they agreed to long before you ever knew their name. They loved you in a way only souls can love, with divine obedience to your shared growth. Their silence, their departure, it's part of the agreement, not to betray you, but to liberate you. There comes a moment, after the tears and the sleepless nights, where you don't break anymore, you ignite. The person you couldn't have becomes the fuel for your metamorphosis. What once felt like abandonment now feels like divine redirection. You no longer beg for their return. You begin to reclaim the parts of you that loved so fiercely, so foolishly, so fully. They cracked you open, yes, but through that crack, light enters, and in that light you meet yourself. Not the self who chases, who pleads, who waits, but the self who rises, the self who no longer confuses obsession with connection, or silence with mystery. The self who no longer needs validation to feel worthy of love. The sacred rupture is a rite of passage, a holy breaking. You were never meant to love them forever. You were meant to love yourself enough to finally let go. And in that letting go, you don't lose power. You reclaim it. You don't lose love. You awaken to a higher form of it, one that starts within. The universe doesn't always speak in words. It speaks in loss, in distance, in silence. And in those moments, the deepest spiritual truth reveals itself. Sometimes love is letting go not out of weakness, but out of sacred knowing that their journey is not yours to carry, that your healing doesn't require their presence, that the love that awakened in you was never meant to be poured endlessly into someone else. It was meant to lead you home to yourself. You may never understand the timing, the cruelty, the ache of having something so beautiful yet so unreachable. But one day you will realize it was all part of the design. You were meant to meet them, you were meant to love them, you were meant to lose them, because through that process you were meant to find yourself. And there is no greater love than that.